What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of our Postgame Recaps 21-22 season. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube at Dime Dropper Podcast, Apple Podcasts, follow us on Spotify, and of course, to follow us on all social media platforms at Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Dime Dropper Pod. For tonight's episode, it's the favorite night of Dime Dropper fam, the hallway series. I almost said freeway series. The hallway series, Lakers, Clippers, both of the teams that I focus on, watch every single night, are LA teams going up against each other for the second time this season. I was busy for the first matchup this season in which the Clippers won on the Lakers floor. Paul George and LeBron James played in that one. They would not play tonight, but they wouldn't be the only ones missing the game tonight. For the Clippers, we missed Ivica Zubac, second straight game out with the calf injury. I really hope that's not serious. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in the last game. Actually, I didn't. I don't think I was live for the last game because, yeah, that was the night that I thought I had COVID. So I did not go live last game against the Pacers, but 2 straight games missed for Zoo. And then, obviously, the Clippers missing Kawhi. But Marcus Morris Sr. back tonight after a little absence. You know, his friend passed away, and I don't think he was in the right mental space. But boy, was he in the right mental space tonight, because he had a performance, all right. Starting lineup for the Lakers was the same as last night. Anthony Davis, Stanley Johnson, Malik Monk, Avery Bradley, and Russell Westbrook. For the Clippers, Reggie Jackson, Amir Coffey, Nico Batum, Marcus Morris Sr., and Serge Ibaka. And the beginning of the game was very sloppy. Both teams came out a little cold. I remember one team being 2 for 6, another being 1 for 5 or something like that. A couple turnovers back and forth. And honestly, the Clippers were getting some good shots. We just weren't knocking them down. Reggie Jackson started out a bit cold. But one thing that I liked was Serge Ibaka all night established himself in the paint area. And he caught the ball deep and finished around the rim with his little jump hooks. And anytime he had a switch or Laker defense was in rotation and a smaller guy was on him, he called for the ball. He posted up deep. He got good position, or just in transition, rim running. I thought that the Clippers did a really good job tonight of pushing the pace from quarter one more than the Lakers did. And we're not really a fast-paced team, but I thought we did a pretty good job of pushing the pace. We had 10 fast break points to their 7. And a couple of those were Serge Ibaka, just running the floor, going hard to the basket. A couple of them, he put the ball on the floor, Euro step, and, did that little go 1-2 and finish, and got an N1 at one point. So Serge Ibaka, I thought, did a really good job of setting the tone. But one thing that was very apparent with the Lakers is Russell Westbrook, at least in the first quarter, besides like the first 2 or 3 plays, throughout the game, I should say, he started to defer to Malik Monk a lot more. Malik Monk, for example, took 19 shots tonight. Westbrook, 18 shots. And I think it was actually more of an adjustment as the game went on. Russell Westbrook came out somewhat aggressive. And, as a Clipper fan, with the way Russell Westbrook has been shooting this season, I'm very okay with him shooting. And the Clippers were going underneath screens a lot, basically every time with Russ. And that's really been limiting his downhill opportunities and abilities to play make for other guys. And tonight, Russell Westbrook was 1 of 5 in the first quarter. And one of those was just a 3 from straight away, which, again, I don't think he should be taking. And one thing I've noticed about Russ, he's not great with his left hand finishing around the basket unless he's about eye level with the rim or going up against the big, challenging. When he's just trying to get by somebody and there's a guard on his hip or a forward on his hip, or he's running into traffic, he does not finish well with the left hand, and he was not finishing well tonight or last night with the left hand. And yeah, I was very comfortable. The only shot he made was that bank shot that ends up getting memed so much from the left side of the court. But the one thing that strikes me, sorry guys, I'm still a little bit sick. But the one thing that strikes me every time we play the Lakers, Anthony Davis. We have no answer for him, but there are too many stretches within a game that the guy just isn't aggressive enough for me. And, you might look at the game tonight and think he had 24 shots. That was the most of anybody in the game for either team. He was plenty aggressive. I still think there are times with the amount of shots put up in today's game, mind you, 88 shots taken by the Lakers tonight. Sometimes I feel like the guy should shoot 30 shots. I mean, not even with LeBron on the court, but there are times where it's like he comes down the court, right, to start the game. He gets a lob on a Malik Monk pick and roll. And that's something that I'm seeing the Lakers go to more is that Malik Monk high pick and roll with AD as opposed to Russ. Because with Malik Monk, you can't go underneath the screen. You have to go over the screen. So Malik Monk has done a good job of showing guys that not only is he a good shooter, which everybody knows, but he put the ball on the deck and make the pass on the roll. And he was doing that with Anthony Davis tonight. So that was posing a little bit of a threat for us. Now, the one thing that really was another boost was Marcus Morris Sr. took no time in getting back into the swing of things. He was making his open threes. He was getting to his mid-range. He had a turnover his right shoulder in the first quarter, pull up mid-range off the catch. Remember last season I said Marcus Morris Sr. off the catch, top percentile in the league. That's not a statistic. I'm just saying he's one of the best last season off the catch because he's a really good shooter, even when it's a good contest, when you're closing out hard and get still a good hand up. But he can also pump fake and take 1-2 steps in and get a mid-range. Not go all the way. That's not his game, but step into that mid-range or sidestep into a three or another thing he did late in the game, which we'll get to. But Marcus Morris Sr. gave us a good lift along with Serge Ibaka. And one thing I really liked was that Reggie Jackson did not force it. No Kawhi, no Paul George. It's easy for Reggie Jackson to say, you know what, I got to come out and get some shots. And he only shot 2 shots in the first quarter, which I liked. He was letting other guys get going. He was letting Marcus Morris Sr. get going. And when they threw 2 guys at him, he made the right pass, found Serge Ibaka with a smaller guy. Because that's the thing about this small ball lineup. Every time Davis gets pulled out of the paint, the rotation, the biggest guy they can have out there is Stanley Johnson. And that's good game planning by Ty Lue. He knows that if it's not Stanley Johnson rotating, it's going to be either Westbrook, Monk, or Bradley. And we caught a lot of them on those switches and rotations. And Serge Ibaka did the business. Another thing that the Lakers like to do, especially because of Anthony Davis, is the late switch. So they'll be in drop coverage where the ball handler is trailing Reggie Jackson and Anthony Davis is backing up, getting ready for him to, basically inviting him to come into him for a floater or layup. But when Reggie Jackson knows that Anthony Davis is doing that and he'll pull it out, that's the late switch where Anthony Davis will stay on him and he'll be being on an island. The flip side of that is you're allowing the switch with whoever was guarding Reggie on whoever was AD was guarding, which in this case tonight was Serge Ibaka. And we took advantage of that in plenty of ways. That being said, the Lakers, Taylor Horton-Tucker came in and was hitting shots. Carmelo Anthony came in and was hitting shots, tough shots as well. Carmelo more open threes, but THT hit some nice, going to his left, one-legged faders, which if you watch Laker games, you know that he has in his bag. And THT, 2 games in a row, where I liked his offensive output. 9 points tonight for him, 4 to 7. He only had 1 turnover, 2 assists. So he was not Taylor Horton turnover tonight. I thought, if anything, he maybe should have played even more. Only played 21 minutes. He had a 0 plus minus, and he wasn't bad at all. And he was, not bad. First quarter, though, 28-26. The Clippers took the lead going into the second quarter. And the second quarter, again, very similar, kind of back and forth. Luke Kennard, I thought, did a good job of coming in, knocking down shots. We already know what Luke does. And one thing I just love about our offense is it's not just with like Glenn Rivers style high pick and roll. Like that's what the bad teams and average teams in today's NBA do, just spam high pick and roll. But the good teams, the Phoenix Suns, obviously the Warriors, that goes without saying, the Miami Heat, these teams do a lot of high pick and roll because that's modern NBA, but they mix in other things. Other creative sets, for example, like Luke Kennard, he's always coming off pin downs. He's always getting screens on the baseline, and he's always curling from left to right or right to left to the top of the key. You know what I'm saying? And like sometimes we'll have a curl, and if the curl's not there, then Luke Kennard will come back the other way and get a dribble handoff with the big. Like just little counters like that, creativity in our offensive sets, and that's what Ty Lue does. He thinks outside the box, and he's an actual tactician, not a bot sitting on the bench with a raspy-ass voice that needs lotion poured down it immediately. Okay, that was a joke. Anyway, Luke Kennard was knocking down his shots. 4 of 7. He did not get that many looks tonight, but when he did his thing with them. 2 of 4 from 3 in the beginning of the second quarter. He stepped into the mid-range, cash coming off a screen, I believe. And one thing I really noticed tonight in the second quarter, especially, was Austin Reeves. And it was not what you want to hear, Laker fans. Austin Reeves has that who the fuck is this white boy look on him. And whenever you see teams play against the Lakers, they try to go at Austin Reeves, but it doesn't usually work because they get surprised that he actually holds his own on defense. Tonight was not one of those nights. Eric Bledsoe went at him in the first possession that he had the ball against him. He went at his chest and scored. Then the next time down, if I'm not mistaken, he stopped on a dime and shot a mid-range over him. And I just remember us going at Austin Reeves in the beginning of the game. Oh, and also we went to a pick and roll. Eric Bledsoe, bounce pass, pocket pass to Isaiah Hartenstein. And that is becoming a good connection off the bench, Clipper Nation. Watch out for that. Eric Bledsoe, Isaiah Hartenstein. But overall, and it came back to bite the Lakers in the last play of the game, we were going at Austin Reeves all night tonight, and he looked a little bit flustered. Like he was backing up on guys' drives. And usually Reeves takes charges. He stands up strong. He gets right into the space, predicting that the guy's going to come into him. But, Terrence Mann coming out in full speed, he was backing up. Marcus Morris Sr., that's just not a good matchup for him. You know what I'm saying? Just different things we threw at. Even Reggie Jackson, he was taking him to the house tonight. And we saw that late in the game. So I'm not saying it's a big deal, but Austin Reeves, that was something of note for me. And Eric Bledsoe did a great job in the first half. I emphasize first half. Isaiah Hartenstein, we know he's great with that push shot. He seems like he's still not really getting the minutes that he was getting before he got injured. He only played 14 minutes tonight. And, the analytics or the plus minus isn't really analytics, but minus 12 was not good. Although I don't think that was very indicative of his performance. I thought he was fine. 6 rebounds, 6 points. I just thought he was in a lineup that, in that third quarter we'll get to was no good. And if that was Frank Vogel that made that lineup decision to take the two hottest players, Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris Sr. out the game, Laker fans would have been calling for their head. As I said, not every coach is flawless, but again, you also can't predict the future. And at the end of the day, I don't blame coaches, especially when Ty Lue is so great. But anyway, that's not to say that Vogel's not been at fault this season. You guys listen to my lives, you know what I think. But anyway, it was only a 5-point game in this going into halftime. And a big reason of that, even though it was neck to neck the whole way, remember when I talked about last night about when AD comes back into games, he sometimes takes a while to get back into the swing of things. Late in that second quarter, he got offensive rebounds, he got some putbacks, he was being more aggressive. There was one time where I think that was early third quarter, but Anthony Davis towards the end of the quarter started getting going again and got 6 more points and had 15 at halftime. He had 15 in each half. But again, there's just a feeling where bro, just take over the game. Make us double team you every time down the court. Now, I know what some might say, that's not good basketball. It doesn't get everybody in rhythm. But here's the thing, man. You got to play to your strengths. LeBron's not out there. I know, yeah, you're probably thinking they're going to double off a Russ or something. That's when Russ needs to dive. And if he doesn't dive, get out of the game. Seriously. Because he's not bringing much on defense. This idea that, don't bring Russell Westbrook off the bench because you need to keep his ego in check. But this idea that if he's not playing well, you can't sit him. No, that's not a thing. You know what I'm saying? If AD's getting double teamed and he's standing at the 3-point line, which nobody cares about, nobody's worried about, he needs to dive to the fucking basket. Or if he's not, get him out of the game because he does not play good enough defense. He played good defense today when everyone else was playing good defense, when the momentum started to shift. And I love Russell Westbrook, but we need to be real right now, right? Everybody has given Russell Westbrook credit his whole career for being that guy that gives 110% every night. And that was true for the majority of his career. But there is two sides to this game, and he does not always give 100% on defense. And that needs to be accounted for. And because of that, he does not get a pass just because of who he is to stay in the game when he is not playing well. And I'm not saying tonight was one of those nights because he ate in the fourth quarter. I'm just saying, generally speaking, going forward, and that's just a result of me saying that I think that Anthony Davis needs to I know he's not Kobe. I know he's not Shaq. I know he's not Giannis. But when I watch Joel Embiid and Jokic in the same era as Davis, who I don't believe are insanely more talented than him, they attract double teams all the time. Anthony Davis may not be the best passer out of the double, but man, how do you think he's going to get better at it? Get that double. And a couple times we showed soft doubles and shading and loading up. And it's so much easier to load up when you're standing 18 feet away from the basket. When you're 10 feet away from the basket, you have to worry about the defensive 3-second violation if you're loading up or a cutter right behind you. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that Anthony Davis at times, at stretches throughout the game, when you look at the box score, you say, oh, he shot 24 shots. What do you want him to do? Shoot 30? it affects momentum sometimes. There are too many possessions where he's just screening for Malik Monk. No, go demand the ball and dominate. Put pressure on our defense. You know what I'm saying? I don't think, and when he does it, like there was one play where Shaq showed it at halftime. He sealed deep in the restricted area and got a dunk. Why can't he fight for that kind of position more? Oh, because it takes a lot out of him. So are we saying that his endurance is not good enough to be a sorry, not a superstar, an all-time great, a Jokic and Embiid? And I'm not even saying Embiid is like some all-time great that AD is not. You know what I'm saying? Because AD has done more in his career. But Jokic is all-time great and on that trajectory. And you know what I'm saying? He's one of the best players in Nuggets history. Everybody's calling him the best passing big man ever. I don't make comments about ever because I'm not there yet. And not to brag, but I know I have more historical knowledge than 99% of people that talk hoop, especially at my age. I shouldn't have said 99%. 99% of people that talk hoop at my age. And, I don't make claims like that. But Jokic, man, he's exceptional and a one-of-a-kind talent and probably the best passing big man ever. And I'm not saying AD is that, but AD also has gifts that Jokic doesn't have. And, it's very disappointing to see that. 30 points. Why don't you go out for 40 one night, man? Like, I'm serious, dude. Every single time I'm watching the game and we play against AD, what do I say to you Laker fans? LeBron has never really scared me that much in a game. Ever in his career. The only time he scared me and I was like, damn, what are we going to do about this fool? Was the game in March 2020 before the bubble, before the pandemic happened. And you guys remember that Sunday the Lakers beat us after they beat the Bucks? That game, LeBron was just picking us apart. He was getting Lou Williams in that pick and roll. He was dominating. But overall, the way that AD can affect the game on both ends and how there's no defense for him sometimes when he wants to be aggressive, there's nothing we can do. And I was like, every time Malik Monk shoots a deep three or a semi-contested three, or Russ shoots any sort of shot, or Stanley Johnson, who, by the way, is scared of shooting. Is 1-3. He's offensively a liability. And I'm okay with anyone shooting besides Anthony Davis as a Clipper fan. So that's the thing. When I'm saying this as a fan, that's the team. The Clippers are feeling the same way. I can promise you. I can promise you that they're okay with everybody else shooting. Anyways, we go into the second half, right? And for the second consecutive night, the Lakers have not started out with enough intensity in the third quarter. They came out lackadaisical last night. That's what got the Blazers up 6 points. And tonight, they were just kind of going through the motions, and we punched them in the mouth to start the third quarter. And one of the reasons why was because Reggie Jackson hit a three before halftime, and he got that momentum, feeling himself going into that second half. And he started knocking down shots. He started knocking down threes, some even contested. One where Anthony Davis from the right wing was inviting him to shoot, and he was still a good contest, and Reggie still made it. And Marcus Morris Sr. started getting hot too. He was making his threes. He was making his pull-ups. Him and Reggie Jackson completely dominated that third quarter for us. And, it was huge. It was a huge lift. Huge lift. And the Lakers, Russell Westbrook really deferred to Malik Monk in that third quarter in my eyes. And Malik Monk was doing a lot of pick and rolls with AD. A couple of them where he was getting some good looks. But again, 34-28. And by the way, if you're wondering what did the Lakers do wrong defensively, I apologize to you Laker fans, but I was looking at this game from a very, Clipper-centric view. So in the third quarter, I don't know why you didn't play great defensively. But it also has to be noted that Carmelo Anthony, for anybody that missed the game tonight, got a hamstring injury in the second quarter, and that really affected the game because Carmelo has been one of the better scorers this season for the Lakers. As inconsistent as he's been, he's still been one of the more consistent players in the Lakers, which is ridiculously funny and an oxymoron, it sounds like, but it's true. And it's a big loss if he's out for a little while because, especially with LeBron out, Melo, especially at Staples Center, man, he's been hooping this season. Like offensively, on defense, he's a slouch and does nothing, but he's been freaking hooping this season, man. And Russell Westbrook, yes, as I said, only shot twice in the third quarter. And honestly, that's a good thing. But again, he made a shot around the basket, and then his one miss was a three. Again, you can live without those threes. Totally live without them. And Anthony Davis, again, he played the entire third quarter, but it was late third quarter, it felt like, when he started scoring again. And, I also want to say Serge Ibaka, again in the third quarter, when Reggie started gaining respect of hitting floaters. And, he hit 2 floaters in that third quarter, Reggie. And that makes the big man like AD step up, and that leaves a smaller man to rotate on to Serge, as I said before, and Serge was feasting, and we did a great job of feeding him. There's one time Nicholas Batum fed him down low and he scored, and he was doing his thing, man. He was doing his thing. But there was a large stretch, again, where AD wasn't really scoring in that third quarter. I mean, we went up by 14. And then again, I like when AD gets to the line. Like, you know what I'm saying? As a if you're looking at it from a Laker view, I like when he gets to the line. And he got to the line a couple times in that third. But, it was again the end of the quarter where Anthony Davis scored like 6 points in the last 4 minutes. Yeah, he scored 6 points in the third quarter in the last 4 minutes. And he played the entire quarter and he had 8 points, but again, it's like it feels like I'm asking too much, but like I feel like I'm not because like this is a guy that's one of the most talented players I've just ever seen. And it's like, yeah, I do know who he is at this point, but I've seen it from him. And it's not look, and if you're trying to if you're don't think that I'm saying that AD cost them the game. Like AD was the best player for the Lakers tonight still. But I think Malik Monk, a lot of it was initiating that offense on pick and rolls. And sometimes I feel like, I know it's old school and I'm an old school kind of fan. I think um, I think that he should just ask for the ball more in those straight up post ups and put more pressure on the defense because when you do pick and rolls, if the defense is smart enough to take away AD's lob, and yeah, rotate in and pack the paint on AD's lob, that will force the Malik Monk or Russell Westbrook when they're going downhill to kick it out for a 3-point shooter, and everybody's okay with the Lakers shooting threes. But anyway, Lakers ended the third quarter well, led by Anthony Davis, and that set the stage for a fourth quarter in which the Lakers really turned the tide of the game and changed the momentum. When Eric Bledsoe, Terrence Mann, and Brandon Boston Jr. came in for Senior, Coffee, and Reggie, the game flipped. We couldn't score without Reggie and Senior. Eric Bledsoe was not getting the same looks. He took some really ill-advised shots, some really bad jump shots, and a lot of that was because the Laker guards were fighting through screens harder. You know what I mean? Just playing harder. And when Austin Reeves had a dunk, and the Lakers got the challenge overturned on the Anthony Davis blocking Isaiah Hartenstein, that started changing the game's momentum. The Laker portion of the crowd started getting loud. You started hearing it, and you knew that the game was kind of turning. And who really turned the tide of the game was Russell Westbrook himself. And I started to get scared a little bit. Russell Westbrook going to the rim at Isaiah Hartenstein, layup. Luke Kennard misses a three. Russell Westbrook comes on and gets an and one. Hand in the cookie jar, and he made the mid-range. That cut the game down. And I'm starting to get nervous here, man. I was starting to get nervous. And one thing I have to say, too, is Brandon Boston Jr.'s jump shot has been concerning me of late. I think he's honestly getting his looks. He's getting opportunities. And it just seems like he's not going to get that many looks, if you know what I mean. Like, he's not going to be a huge rotation piece this year. And unless he makes shots in those smaller looks he gets, he's not going to get the ability to get heavy minutes. You know what I'm saying? He was only 1 of 4 tonight, and he only played 10 minutes, and that's because he wasn't doing enough in that time. He was -8. And at this point, that is not misleading because Brandon didn't do much. He had a wide open three, and he missed it badly. It went off the glass and came off the rim. And then he had a mid-range the only shot he made was a mid-range where they ran him off the line. He stepped in, and it was wide open. And then a couple shots, he got decent looks and couldn't hit. And that was tough going from Senior and Reggie to that. And Russell Westbrook, he poured it on in that fourth quarter. I talked about the layup. I talked about the N1. And then he got right to it was a mid-range, I believe. But yeah, look, we brought back Marcus Morris Sr. And Reggie Jackson at the 8:08 mark. Reggie Jackson came back in. Marcus Morris Sr. at the 7:27 mark when we were only up by 4. And Reggie Jackson immediately restored order. He got to the basket and scored. And then when Marcus Morris Sr. got the technical at the 7-minute mark, again, another turn in momentum. I was a little afraid there that Sr. was losing his cool a bit. AD made the technical free throw to get it down to 5. And then Malik Monk cut it down to 4. And I was starting to get real nervous. And the Lakers' intensity on defense totally changed. They were fighting through screens. The refs. Here's the thing about basketball, guys, is when momentum starts to shift and then you notice the team plays better defense, sometimes you'll also notice the refs will let them get away with more because they notice the momentum is exciting. A run can be made. Runs are good for basketball. They're working hard on defense, and the refs going to reward that too. And they were doing that with the Lakers. And I'm not saying like the refs were helping them. I'm saying that that's just basketball. And the Lakers, if you think if you're a Laker fan, imagine if they had that intensity in the third quarter. You know what I'm saying? And that's what pisses you off. You know what I'm saying? All this Vogel shit, every single Twitter space I go to with Lakers, Vogel, Pelinka, they don't want to blame the players. They don't want to put accountability on the players for their inconsistent effort. The Clippers had a slump, but, I never was going to say it was a lack of effort. I just think that we're offensively limited sometimes, and without Paul and all these guys. And when we don't have Senior and Reggie in the game, and when they're hitting and teams are playing pretty solid defense, it's going to be hard for us to score, especially when Brandon's not hitting shots and he's one of the guys in the court spacing the floor for us. But it's all about that effort, guys. All about it. And Malik Monk, man, he was really aggressive. He was like we know Malik Monk has bounce. You know what I'm saying? He was going right at the rim, challenging dudes. Bach, Arnstein, he didn't care. He was going right there. He was putting a lot of pressure on our defense, to be honest. Even though he does shoot a lot of jump shots, he was putting a lot of pressure on our defense. But Marcus Morris Sr. had a big shot going to his right from the mid-range area to give us Lawler's Law. First to 100 wins, it's the law. And tonight, the law was not broken, thank God, as the Clippers came out with the win, 111-110. But to get there, by the way, I know it was a weird move, but Trevor Ariza came in the game midway through the third quarter when the Lakers were playing terribly, and he was actually a plus 14. They made a run with Ariza in the game. He didn't shoot more than 2 shots. He shot 2 threes and made one of them. That one was to make it 100-97. But when a coach throws in a player that has not played in the second half of a game when they're losing, that's a sign of, I'm out of ideas. Let's just throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks. And it was sticking. And I would be shocked if Ariza didn't get more minutes next game. But again, are we doing that? Are we throwing shit to the wall and hoping it sticks? We're at game 53 of the season for the Lakers, and we're still throwing shit to the wall. We're still working out rotations. I know there's been injuries, but it's like, why they don't have – there's a reason why the Clippers, even with injuries, have found some kind of continuity in the starting lineup. Because we're actually winning. And I know we only have we're 3 games better than Lakers, but – 3 games with the expectations is a different kind of feel around the dressing room, around the locker room than what the Lakers have, with all that outside noise going on, with all the pressure that they've had. It's different. It's totally different. And again, to finish off the recap of the game and then get into the comments and live subscribers and the great crazy ending to the game. Reggie Jackson, after Ariza made that 3, took Austin Reeves right to the basket on the baseline, right to the basket. And again, that was going back to that point about Austin Reeves. He was getting attacked on defense. Anthony Davis, right after that, though, came down and shot a 3. Again, why? That's a W for us. That's a W. And right after that, Malik Monk got a technical foul. Thankfully for the Lakers, Luke Kennard missed. But I thought, again, Reggie Jackson was so good. Getting to the basket, continuing to put pressure on the Laker defense throughout the second half, and he made 2 free throws to put us up by 7, 104-97. And I thought we were home free. But oh boy, I was wrong again when Russell Westbrook made a 3. Russell Westbrook. And then when Reggie came down and missed, and we got that 5-second violation with under 2 minutes left, you knew shit was about to get crazy. Malik Monk had an and one tip on his own miss. And again, one thing that really was not good enough for us tonight was when Malik Monk was going to the basket and Serge Ibaka was helping, I know it's a really long rotation to make because of today's NBA is everybody at the 3-point line, but when the ball's in the paint, you've got to sink and get ready when he puts that up to get, if Ibaka's going to jump, you need to put a body on his man. And that's tough in this era because of the rotations are so far away. But also because, you got to kind of, if you start sinking too early, if you got a good enough guy on the ball, they'll find the open man in the corner that you're helping off of. But that's why it's all about timing and angles and positioning, and you just got to know when to help and when to come. And that's all about just the feel of the game, your positional awareness and your awareness of of timing, you know what I'm saying? And we were doing a poor job. That's why Anthony Davis, Monk, these guys got offensive rebounds. And Ty talked about it when they interviewed him after the quarter that, when Serge or Isaiah goes up for a block, We need a rotation to take AD off the glass. And when AD's offensive rebounding like he was tonight, late in the game, just like last night, late in the game, it does wonders for his game. It does wonders. Russell Westbrook hit a go-ahead corner shot from the right side to put the Lakers up 105-104 with 1:03 left. And I was like, wow, like, is Russ about to carry them to a W right here? Just taking over this fourth quarter with like 9 points or 8 points. No, yeah, 9 points. But Reggie Jackson came back the other way, got to the rim, off the glass with a bucket. And then, you know what's crazy? The Lakers came down the other way. Russell Westbrook and Malik Monk, I believe it was a pick and pop. I knew the second Malik Monk shot that shot, it was going in. Because one thing we've noticed about Monk in Charlotte, Kentucky, and the Lakers, that guy's clutch. That guy is clutch. He made, I think it was the San Antonio game earlier this season where he made a huge shot. And he's had some big shots this season. He just has that factor, that clutch factor. But when Marcus Morris Sr., and by the way, the Clipper ball movement throughout the game was just fantastic. Like extra passes. When the Lakers were doubling Marcus Morris Sr. loading up, we did a good job of guys cutting. You know, Reggie Jackson, I always criticize him for not moving without the ball. Tonight, went into the middle, flash middle, got the ball, and even made a little turnaround jump hook, you know, with Anthony Davis next to him off of Marcus Morris Sr. pass. But speaking of senior, pump fake in the left corner, fly by, and instead of stepping into the mid-range, he took his right foot forward and then dragged it back behind the line for a 3 and made it. And one thing about Marcus Morris Sr., man, he is also clutch. He has a knack for the dagger, and that left corner is his spot, exactly where he gamed the Dallas Mavericks in Game 7 that I was at, and it's in the vlog of the playoffs last year. And he made that exact same shot, except there was no pump fake in the Mavs series. But he made that from that exact spot tonight to give us the lead. It was a huge shot. But then a great play drawn up by Frank Vogel, a little pick and roll slip screen from AD, it was a kind of a slip. It was like a mixture of a regular pick and roll and a kind of a slip. He rolled really quickly, and he got that nice lob. Westbrook made a great pass. We had no timeouts remaining, and Reggie Jackson wanted the switch with Austin Reeves. You could tell. And we were hunting Austin Reeves that whole fourth quarter with the Marcus Morris Sr. thing, trying to get him switched on him. Because the Lakers, you know, they had trouble defending the pick and roll straight up because they don't have switch everything personnel, and Ibaka was getting those baskets around the rim. So they went to switch everything, and what happened was Reggie Jackson got Reeves on the switch. He tried to go baseline. Russ came and double teamed him because he's like, okay, Reggie's got the hot hand. Austin's been struggling. And the TNT crew was talking about this a lot. It wasn't a good enough double. He kind of hesitated for a split second, and he did not build a wall. Reggie spun over his right shoulder and got right to the middle and split. Russell Westbrook went for the ball and just did not get it. I think if he was a step closer and there was less room for him to split to, he could have gotten his hand on it, or he could have just been there the second Reggie turned into his body. You know what I'm saying? Russ was not in front of bro. And Reggie spun and finished around the rim. Unbelievable play. AD came back the other way for a runner, and I thought it was going to make it. It was in and out. It looked good on his release, and Reggie Jackson, for the second time this season, makes a game winner at the Staples Center to win the Clippers the ball game. 111-110 is the final in the freeway series, the hallway series. The Clips move on at 27-27. The Lakers to 25-28. The Lakers, both teams did not turn the ball over much tonight. 11 for the Lakers, 10 for the Clips. The Clippers shot 52% from the field. Lakers, 46.6%. The three-pointers, though, for both teams, pretty good, and neither team took too many. Lakers, 11 of 29, 38%. But again, AD and Russ don't have to take any. And then the Clippers shot great from deep, 13 of 30, 43%. But the Lakers did get to the line a lot more than we did. So that's good. And that's when Anthony Davis is being aggressive. 6 of 7 from the foul line. He finished with 30 points and 17 rebounds, 7 of those offensive rebounds. So as far as dominating the glass, I think AD's been great since he came back. I just like to see him be a little bit more aggressive in stretches of the game where he can dominate, demand double teams, and get the defense being like, what the fuck are we going to do about you? But Westbrook, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. 4 assists as a result of not getting opportunities to get guys open because no one's helping off of him because he's not getting by guys frequently enough. He got by guys a couple times today, but if Dwight Howard's out there, that big man's rotating over and contesting, and it's no big deal. Anyway, and of course, we're going under screens with Russ. 7 of 18 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. I don't know why he thinks he needs to shoot 5 threes. He's shooting, the second most threes in the game for the Lakers. It's not good enough. Monk, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He was the second best player for the Lakers tonight. 8 of 19 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3. And yeah, Austin Reeves, 5 points in 25 minutes, 2 of 2 from the field, +6, but he was really getting attacked on defense. So see that plus minus. I don't think Reeves had a great game tonight. I think that he played hard like he always does, but he got scored on a lot. It was noticeable, guys. And when it's noticeable, that's not a good thing. Clippers, Nico Batum, only 4 points, only got 6 shots off, 2 of 6 from the field and 0 of 2 from 3. I think the Lakers did a good job just making sure they didn't help off of him, and he didn't get many looks. Marcus Morris Sr. was just phenomenal, though. My player of the game. Actually, no, I got to go to Reggie. He made the game winner, but Senior, 29 points on 11 of 16 shooting. Wow. 6 of 7 from deep. That's unbelievable. And 0 turnovers, too. Serge, one of his best games in a Clipper uniform. 20 points, was finishing everything around the rim, was being very aggressive and physical with AD. And he did get away with some fouls. And funny because he had 5 fouls. He could have fouled out, but 9 of 15 from the field. And he only shot 2 threes, missed them both. So I'm happy he wasn't getting 3 happy because they're giving it to him. So 60% shooting for Serge. 3 guys in our starting lineup with 20-plus points. The third one being the game-winning man, the man with 2020 Reggie vision, baby. 10 out of 20 for Reg, 3 of 7 from deep. I think 22 of his points came in the second half. I'm pretty sure that 3 was the only shot he made in the first half towards the end of the second quarter. Reggie Jackson's second game winner of the season. He made every big play down the stretch. He is not afraid of anything. The herky-jerky motherfucker split that double team, that half-ass double team to perfection. And then Luke Kennard, 10 points, 4 of 7 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. You would have hoped to see him get more shots, but the Lakers definitely tightened up getting over screens. Eric Bledsoe, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. Great first half, not a very good second half. 3 of 8 for Eric, but a big win. And now, thank you for joining me, guys. We're going to go to the live subscribers waiting so patiently in the chat. If you have any questions about my MVP pick, my new frontrunner, Joel Embiid, if you have any questions about that, go ahead and ask. If you want me to talk about why not John Morant, why not Jokic on the next episode, I can do that. Make sure to check out my latest video, part 2 of what went wrong with Melo's Knicks with my boy Fabian Perspective. Check his channel out, subscribe. We went in depth. This one was about the poverty years, about one of the most famous fights of the 2000s, Isaiah Thomas and why he was such a bad GM for the Knicks, and when Stephon famous ate Vaseline. Peace out, y'all. Go Clippers. Huge win. Reggie Jackson, you're my dad. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Let's see what we got tonight. Yeah, 14 people in the live. Let's check out the comments from the Peanut Gallery tonight. Kyle Dominic Yu says, what's up, Dime? Great game. Raid says, kill me. Raid says, Reggie is greater than Russ, and I'm not even joking. Okay, just if you give Russell Westbrook Ty Lue, I think he'd figure some shit out. Let me just put it that way. We got shooters, by the way, Raid. We got some shooters. My man, Lake Show. Good game, as always. You know you're the man. And Kyle Dominic Yu says, even the Lakers were going under screens on Russ in 2020. Facts. Ethan says Morris was on fire. Kyle Dominic Yu says that was Morris's first game back. It was. Actually, no, I think he did come back against Indiana, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Lightbringer says it's weird Ty Lue went away from Ibaka. Facts, but I also think it was a couple times Ibaka had the switch and Reggie just took it. Kyle Dominic Yu says before the ADL, even Reggie game winner, I thought Marcus Morris Sr. did it again to the Lakers. Facts. Lakeshore says audio was tripping. That was probably just the Wi-Fi, bro. I'm sorry. Lakeshore says AD got that it factor and never did. Someone asked, not even in the bubble. Raid said Clippers couldn't miss in the third. Facts. Brent said good game tonight. Facts. Sinan McKenna says, yo, Dime, I just woke up in the UK. What's up, my man? Lakeshore says great number 2 with number 1 impact, but not mindset. Wright says still not sure how Russ fits in all this when LeBron comes back. Facts, not a great thing. Lakeshore says refs hoed y'all on that 5-second count. That was too fast. Wright said, Darian, you think we're going to see a Lakers-Clippers play-in game? It could be the year, guys. It could be the first year we see a Lakers-Clippers postseason game, and I am going to be very high blood pressure for that one if I'm there, but it's going to be ugly. It's going to be real ugly. Lakeshore says, not my space, bro, with the blading Vogel. Yeah, Kent Bazemore coming in. I don't know what he was thinking instead of Ariza. What was good with that? Kyle Dominic, I did say throwing stuff to the wall and hoping it sticks as Glenn Rivers coaching. Lakeshore says, you have an identity. Lakers don't. That's facts. Melo Roy would have been in the game had he not gotten hurt, so I guess that's why Vogel threw in Ariza, says Raid. Facts. Good observation. Good point. Kerner Scriber says, go Clips. Facts. Edward Vera spamming says, I'll take a Lakers loss over Luka any day. Let's go Clipper. Runs LA. Oh, my goodness. Laker fans are going to start trashing Davis again. I'm still Morris out, but shout out to Marcus. Good job. Clutch Morris, what the fuck? How many beers you had tonight? Bro, Morris is clutch. He's inconsistent, but he hits big shots. What is he? I think he hits big shots, Edward. In game 5 against the Jazz, he also hit big shots. And remember, before Luka's game winner in the bubble, who made the go-ahead 3 from the left corner? You remember? You remember. He said, Edward said, Reggie Jackson had a great game 7, too. I think he scored more than Morris that night. I don't remember. I think he may have. Maybe. Edward said, Reeves, Punk, Kennard, can't lie. When did he do that? Right says, Darian, why not Devin Booker? The best player on the best team in the NBA. Because Chris Paul played super well when Booker was out. And you know how Chris Paul is, man. If people are debating who the best player on your team is, which I don't think there is, but people are debating it, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. Lightbringer says Reeves needs to put on muscle. Yeah, I was going to say that. I forgot to say it in the chat, in the live. He needs to definitely bulk up a bit. Great question. What are your thoughts on Brady's retirement? Tom Brady is a guy who obviously was getting in GOAT conversations, in the early 2010s. And I remember, everybody hates Brady and hated the Pats. And I kind of was like, appreciate greatness kind of thing. And I remember I kind of rooted for the Pats to come back against the Falcons. So some of my friends could just like admit that he's low-key the GOAT or like the greatest of this era. You know what I mean? At the very least, better than anybody we've seen. And when he did that, the talk really stopped. And then I went to New England and watched him every Sunday and been around the worshiping community of New Englanders that, I've never seen worship like Kobe until I went to New England and saw them with Brady. It's the exact same thing. Can't say a bad word about the guy. He is their everything. If you consider Aaron Rodgers or any other quarterback, Joe Montana, anyone better than him, they'll laugh. It's just, he is their guy, even the girls. And it was amazing to be a part of that, see his greatness every week, how composed he was in the clutch, how many times over and over. The classic, you're leaving Brady too much time on the clock because he'll just make those game-winning drives, man. He just has that confidence. He can read the game so well. And, for him to win 7 rings, to do it on another team after we thought he's going to be a Pat for life, it was an honor and a pleasure. It was an honor to be in the New England community and live in Massachusetts among Pats fans for 3 years and see that greatness firsthand. A Super Bowl at my expense, which was really tough. A memory I won't forget. But all due respect, I'm just blessed to have witnessed it. I'm going to tell my kids about it. Old enough to see grandkids, I'll tell them about it, man. His work ethic, his drive, his commitment to winning. That famous answer, what's your favorite ring? The next one. It just says everything you need to know about Brady and his commitment to excellence and winning. Lightbringer says Joel Embiid isn't as good defensively as he used to be. Mon Trader cooked him yesterday. Right, ask Chris Bosh or Draymond Green. Next question, please. Come on. Let's not get disrespectful to Chris Bosh. Lakers should have took more time off the clock, says Rob. They let big government clutch it. Glad they didn't, though. Facts. Brent said, what do you think about the Lakers revoking Jerry West's free games? Okay, thanks for that question. I've been meaning to talk about this. Disgraceful. I know that Jerry West has badmouthed the Laker organization. and that's not a good look. And I don't blame Ginny for doing it. The whole thing's really petty. It goes back to the days of Phil Jackson and Jerry West. Me and Lake Show have talked about this a ton, and how Phil Jackson and Jerry West never saw eye to eye when Jerry was GM and Phil was coach. And, Phil and Jerry West played against each other in 1973 in the finals, in 1972 in the finals. And Jerry West is Mr. Lakers. He obviously was offended when there was one story where Phil in 2000 had, a team meeting. Jerry wanted to watch or listen in. And he was like, nah, this is players only, coaches only. And Jerry West like, man, there's shit that's going on and I'm not knowing about it. I need to know everything that's happening. This is my organization. I'm the one who came to LA and made y'all popular. You know what I'm saying? Me and Elgin did this shit. And I know that he probably feels that kind of resentment. And I know he does. And obviously, I don't think he approved of Jeannie and Phil being in cahoots for so many years. And obviously, when Jerry wanted to come back to the Lakers after he left Golden State and they did not hire him back, probably because of all that shit I just said, he was butthurt about it. He came to the Clippers and he said that famous TMZ leaked voicemail that the Lakers are a shit show and recruiting Kawhi. And Laker fans, a lot of them got mad about that. And that's Jeannie Buss's Lakers that he's saying shit show about. So Jeannie Buss is like, yeah, fuck this dude. But then again, Laker fans always say, count the banners. When I go to Staples Center, I see a statue of the great Jerry West. When I go inside, and by the way, that's for you, Jerry, that win tonight. That was for you, brother. That was for you. Shout out Reggie Jackson for making it happen. But when you go into that Staples Center and it's a Laker game, and you look up at those banners, there's one that says 1971-72. And that championship was the first championship in this city. It took years to get it. It took 7 finals defeats in Los Angeles to get it. Elgin Baylor never got one. It took a 69-win season. It took Bill Sharman to come in and bring his Celtic philosophy to Los Angeles to change the way Wilt Chamberlain played and have Gail Goodrich and Jerry West spam mid-ranges in transition. 33 consecutive wins. That still stands to this day. For Jerry West to not be able to come to games for free of the organization that he laid the groundwork for is like, it's just crazy. And it's disappointing and it's sad and I hate it. But we got to embrace right now. Jerry West is I seen him at the games. So, and we'll embrace him as one of our own. Am I going to go to the Super Bowl? No, I don't have $5,000 to spend like that. I don't even have $5,000. What do you think about the Lakers? Yeah, you already asked that. Darian, is Tom Brady the greatest quarterback that you've ever seen? Yes, without a doubt. He's just so clutch. And I don't buy that whole, it's the same thing I say, like everybody's like, Aaron Rodgers has more arm talent. Bro, I don't care. I see Aaron Rodgers' Packers. Everyone's like, this is the year they go back to the Super Bowl, and they never fucking go. And I know that may not be his fault every time, but Tom Brady gets the job done. However way you want to slice it. 7-1. It's like that the disparity is too big. Tom Brady in big moments, man, he gets the job done every time. Almost every time, except for the Rams. Vera says, I wonder who the Clippers bobblehead this season. We got 3 coming. Okay. When is that? I've been to every single home game and almost every single home game, and I haven't gotten a bobblehead. Kyle Dominic Hughes says, do you think Golden State or Phoenix should avoid the Lakers in the first round despite the disappointing regular season? Absolutely not. This Laker team is nothing to be afraid of right now. Prime Kevin Love or prime Draymond Green? I like Draymond, but I wouldn't blame you if you, non-prime Kevin Love was the third best player on a championship team. And prime Kevin Love was leading the team, albeit not to the playoffs. But is Draymond Green, if he's the best player on your team, how far are you getting? I think Draymond Green's going to have the better career, but I would honestly think Kevin Love is better at his prime, honestly. Just because he's just, if he's your best player, your best player unless it's Bill Russell, your best player, you want him to be a guy that's offensive oriented, I think, first and foremost. Because it's easier to take over a game on offense than defense. Because you can have the ball and everybody can watch you. Whereas on defense, you can be guarding the ball, but there's still so much shit going on behind you. So I'd say Love. Lakeshore says Jerry wasn't lying. Yeah, right. Says I think they should hope to play the Lakers in the first round. It'll be an easy 5-game series for them. Right? Says Darian, thoughts on Plumber Jim of all people complaining about how much you're not allowed to touch anyone. Yeah, that was like literally the definition of the pot calling the kettle black. That was ridiculous. James Harden. Oh my goodness. You're so lucky you've played in this era, dude. You have gotten oh my goodness. You it's just a basketball, a fraudulent all-time great in my eyes. He's an all-time great in his own right, but to me, he's not. Like, the fact that people were even trying to compare him to Dwayne Wade is the most disrespectful shit I've ever seen, let alone Kobe. Lake Show says, I'll never have any disdain for the man who had a large impact on the franchise and responsible for 10 or so championships. Facts. Jonathan Jakob Q says, I think Brady has an argument to be the greatest winner in sports history besides maybe Bill Russell. But in my opinion, it's hard to win rings consistently in football. Facts. That's a great point. It is. I do consider Bill Russell the best winner in sports history. But Tom Brady, I mean, that's a great point you made, and that's facts. Because Bill Russell, he can dominate games defensively, like totally dominate games defensively, which he did. And Brady they need more pieces. Edward says Jerry got money. He can pay for a ticket. Facts, but like it's principle. Brent says Jerry is responsible for getting Kobe, Shaq, Magic, Pat Riley, Pau Gasol, and pretty much all their rings. He made them relevant again, so it doesn't matter what he says. Jeannie crossed the line. Facts. No matter what Jeannie Buss does, she's Jerry Buss's daughter at the end of the day. Jerry West is fucking Jerry West. He's a logo and he's a fucking champion, and his numbers retired. 44. Imagine having your number retired and having to pay. That's the one part that's like, okay, like you're literally you're not. That means you're all time. That's forever. Whatever. Showtime Nick says Aaron Rodgers just doesn't have the intangibles of Brady. Facts. Jonathan Jakob Q says, I don't watch much soccer and baseball too much, so I could be missing someone. But yeah. Yeah, no. I don't think one person in soccer stands out in the winning category the way Brady does. So I don't think a soccer player is in contention for that. Showtime Nick says Rodgers is an incredible talent, but he's also a huge drama queen. My friend who's a Packers fan even called him Karen Rodgers. That's hilarious. Right says Dorian, I think after this postseason letdown, everyone's starting to see how overrated he is. Who? Who's overrated? Kyle Dominic Yu says someone went at me on Twitter when I clowned Harden's 4 points. He told me Curry had 9 points. Yo, Kyle, are you on Twitter? You follow me? Oh, right. It said Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Kyle Dominic Yu says Curry scored 9 points in a win and Harden scored 4 points in a loss. Yeah, that's the difference. Winning and losing matters. That's what these idiots don't care about. Edward says March 16th, April 3rd and 9th, City Edition bobbleheads. Got to get there early because they go quick. Bunch of lame Laker fans come to resell them on eBay. Oh my goodness. Go fuck yourselves. I'm going to be there too for sure. Brent says Jonathan Jakob, he could be the best winner in his position, but not in all sports because football's so team oriented. One player can't do everything. Right? Said, I should remember. By the way, all-star reserves. I think the West was 100% correct. It sucks that Paul George couldn't make it. I wish that Wiggins had made it as a reserve replacement and Paul George had gotten the nod because we legitimately would not be in the plane without him. If we did not have him the whole season, we would not be in the plane. I don't care what wonders Ty Lue can do. It would not be like this. Paul carried us for a large stretch of the season. The East was a little bit more contentious, but I think Garland, congrats to him. First time All-Star. You totally deserved it. Van Vliet, super happy for him. Wichita State, NBA champion. He deserves it. You could make an argument LaMelo Ball over Van Vliet, but Van Vliet's defense is better, and I just think that he deserves it this year. Siakam, Jaylen Brown didn't make it. Just not enough spots for everybody. Brandon Ingram didn't make it in the West. Not enough spots for everybody. DeJounte Murray, but I think DeJounte could be the replacement for Draymond. So look out for that. Jared Allen will replace Kevin Durant in my eyes. Right? Asked Darian, do you think 2020 is the last year Russ will be an all-star? Yes. Kyle Dominic, you asked, what's your Twitter handle? Brent says LaMelo got snubbed. And I already answered the DeJounte Murray. Brandon Ingram is right. Ask Brandon Ingram or Andrew Wiggins. Brandon Ingram is the better player, but it's not always about who's the better player for All-Star nods in a particular season. I think Ingram has had a better year, but it's just like the Pelicans suck so bad. Although I would have been okay with Ingram making it instead of Wiggins, but Ingram's in a shitty situation. What do you think about Skip calling OBJ overrated? Yeah, well, yeah, you said it yourself. That take did not age well for sure. Wow, Lakeshore says Harden shouldn't have been in. Melo instead. I don't know about that. Harden's still playing like he's still James Harden. He's still not the best, but he's still James Harden. Kyle Donahue says, "Did you see Clay today?" Oh yeah, I saw the highlights and he was splashing in the first half. Predictions for the Super Bowl: Rams win. I don't care how. I don't care if it's by 30. I don't care if it's by 2. We need to win. And then you're gonna see videos. It's gonna be crazy. Jonathan Jacob Q says, Dime, what would your rebuttal be to casuals who exclude Bill from the top 10 because of his points per game average? I have a lot of friends who think this. I got something to tell you. 11 rings. Okay? That's what I have to say. 11 fucking rings. That's what I have to say to that. And then, no, listen. You have to open up your mind to see Bill Russell as who he is, who he really is. And you need to get out of that scoring. If you're not the best scorer, you're not the best player mindset. Because you have to think that the game was different. There's no 3-point line. So that means that everybody's going to the rim. You feel me? No fancy handles for guards. That means it's running through bigs. That means Bill Russell's getting involved in the action. Bill Russell is great at every other aspect of offense besides scoring. He's an amazing screen setter. You can give him the ball in the low post. You can give him the ball in the high post. You can give him he gets the rebound in outlets. You know what I'm saying? He does little things like he'll get offensive rebounds because he's unselfish. You know what I mean? Like 11 rings. You don't prioritize winning enough. That's the problem. You don't prioritize the real thing that matters. Wilt scored all of those points. You know, Bill Russell was okay with that. He's okay with that shit. Oh, Bill. Brandon says, what do you think about the media overhyping guys like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and comparing them to Tom Brady? It's the same thing as basketball, bro. They got to promote the modern product by making ludicrous comparisons. But Josh Allen and Joe Burrow are really good. But Darian, casuals discounting rings and say he plays in a weak era. You can't argue basketball with ignorant people. Exactly. They need to figure out and do the studying themselves and come to Dime Dropper and see the 69 All-Star game, see the talent that he was playing against. Lacio says Middleton as well, probably. Okay. I like Middleton making it overall. Holy fucking smokes, I got my money up. All right. What we talking about here? Sonny's. We got anything else? Good crowd tonight, huh? Bill Russell's rings are older than Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriends. Oh my goodness, Michael Ta. Jimmy Butler said, Draid asked Jimmy Butler said Tyler Hero was snubbed. What do you think, Darian? Nah. No. Sixth man making the All-Star team? I've never seen that in my era, except for Manu Ginobili. I've never seen that before. Atlanta snapped Phoenix winning streak. Yes, Atlanta is back in the playing spots, guys. Watch out. DeAndre Hunter's back, and they may start rolling. And they've been rolling. And they could be moving up. Washington's starting to regress to the median. I said they were going to be the 13 seed. I was looking dead wrong in the beginning, but they're getting closer to that. Indiana's going full tank mode. They didn't have the depth. I'm going to do a midway of the season kind of thing. Like, how I did my season preview. I'm going to do like a mid-season, like a halftime, episode, full episode. And yeah, that'll be interesting to just check in on every team and how my predictions have been. And some of them have been terrible. Who's my coach of the year? Ask Lake Show. I'm going to go with, I think there's a couple candidates. I think Steve Kerr has a case. I think Ty has a case. But I'm gonna go with Taylor Jenkins. I think Taylor Jenkins should be the coach of the year. For them to play so well without Ja, and they don't have a second best player that's an all-star, while Utah has 2, Phoenix has 2, Warriors have 3. I'm going with Taylor Jenkins. I think JB Bickerstaff as a coach has a thing, but I'm going with Taylor Jenkins. Wow, Raid says Ty Lue. Brett says Ty Lue. It's Arrow says Rookie of the Year. I feel like it's Mobley so far. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that for sure. Tyler Hero, 6th man of the year, though. Tyler Hero, 6th man of the year. I got him. Yo, guys. I got you. I have a great idea for you guys. Go back to my video of Ty Lue reaction to Ty Lue getting hired. It's one of my most popular videos. Just go to most popular and look at the comments, guys. Look how ridiculous the comments are about how he's LeBron's puppet. I may have to just post those. Those are hilarious. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go because I'm feeling sick. But let's see. Darian, 2021 Clippers versus Warriors in a 7-game series. Who wins? Versus 2022 Warriors. I'm going with us. Healthy. All right, y'all. Peace out. Have a good night. Thanks, everybody. See you next game.